Ayubowan. Today's lesson is going to focus on the topic community. The other lesson එක focus කරන්න යන්නේ community. That is family, friends, neighbors, ඒ වගේ මාතෘකාවක්, right? So, big family, and this is my big family. දැන් මතක තියාගන්න family, friends, neighbors, community මේවා හරිම common topics IELTS speaking exam එකට. So really prep yourself well in advance, right? Now you would see that most of these lessons are not very long. Good long lessons නෙවෙයි මම intermediate එකේ කරන්නේ because I want you to train yourself, right? To speak, to answer these questions and to record yourself. මොකද ඕගොල්ලෝ කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. ඕගොල්ලොන්ට වචන එන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට කරන්න තමයි අපි beginner level එකේ ඉඳන් වචන දීලා තියෙනවා, grammar දීලා තියෙනවා, right? මම words pronounce කරලා තියෙනවා, lot of resources introduce කරලා තියෙනවා, Cambridge dictionary එක, right? Videos. ඉතින් ඒ හැම දෙයක්ම use කරගෙන ඔයගොල්ලෝ ආවනම් by now you should have developed to a certain level and built your self confidence, right? ඉතින් මේ සමහරක් අය ගොඩක් අය කියනවා ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් නැතුව සිංහලෙන් දාන්න. yes සිංහලෙන් උත් කියනවා. හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා ඇති චුට්ට මම සිංහල අතෑරගෙන එන්නේ because IELTS is an English speaking exam. සිංහලෙන් කතා කරන විභාගයක් නෙවෙයි, right? ඒකට අවශ්‍ය කරන self confidence skills මම build කරගෙන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට beginner level එකේ ඉඳන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ, right? By the time it's advanced level it's completely English. ඒ හින්දා තමන් චුට්ට කන හුරු කරගන්න භාෂාවට, right? So I really want you to speak in English. ඒ හින්දා කොහොම හරි record කරලා තමන් කියන එක අහගෙන ඉඳලා නැත්නම් දන්න කෙනෙක්ට අහන්න දීලා ඒකේ තියෙන වැරදි මොනවද කියලා බලා ගන්න, right? It's very very important you get some kind of guidance especially for writing and speaking. හරි? Look at the family tree and explain it. So, right, think that this is myself, me inne mama, and I'm the husband, right? Me inne mage wife, right? And this is my father and mother. Mage aachi siyai. Eya mage siyage taattai සීයාගේ අම්මයි. So great grandmother, great grandfather නැත්නම් අම්මගේ තාත්තයි අම්මගේ අම්මයි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Sorry, සීයාගේ ආච්චිගේ අම්මයි ආච්චිගේ තාත්තයි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Right? Great uncle, right? ඒ කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ ළමයි. Grandfather ගේ සහෝදරයා, right? එයාගේ සහෝදරිය. එතකොට තාත්තා මේ මම නම්, right? තාත්තගේ සහෝදරයෝ ඉන්නවා, අම්මගේ සහෝදරයෝ ඉන්නවා, right? uncle aunt තමයි ඒගොල්ලොත් එන්නේ, right? තාත්තගේ සහෝදර සහෝදරි විතරක් නම් ඒත් එහෙමයි, right? ඊට පස්සේ මගේ නෝනා wife, මගේ සහෝදරයා brother, මගේ සහෝදරිය sister, right? ඒගොල්ලෝ කසාද බැඳලා ඉන්න අය sister in law, brother in law. මට ඉන්නවා son, daughter. පුතයි දුවලා දෙන්නෙකුයි. එක දුවෙක් බැඳලා ඉන්නවා. එතකොට එයා son in law මට. ඊට පස්සේ sorry මට ඉන්නේ දුවයි පුතයි. son and daughter. මෙයා ඇවිල්ලා daughter in law. මෙයා ඇවිල්ලා son in law. එතකොට මගේ පුතා බැඳලා එයාට ළමයි ඉන්නවා, right? දුවෙකුයි පුතෙකුයි. එතකොට මට ඒගොල්ලෝ granddaughter, grandson වෙනවා, right? Then මට මගේ සහෝදර සහෝදරියන්ගේ ළමයි nephew and niece. පිරිමි ළමයින්ට nephew, ගෑනු අයට niece. මම family tree එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කරලා තියෙනවා මීට කලින් vocab lesson එකේදී, right? So මගේ uncles ලගේ aunties ලගේ ළමයින්ට කියන්නේ cousin's wife, right? මේ තියෙන්නේ ළමයි, ඉර කියන්නේ ළමයි, heart එක කියන්නේ married, right? ඒක එක්කෙනාගේ ළමයි. Clear? Right. So just a little paragraph to explain it, right? My great-grandfather and great-grandmother had 2 sons and a daughter. My great-grandfather is the second son they had. She got married to my grandma and had 2 sons. No, it's actually he, right? Sorry. He got married to my grandma and had 2 sons and 2 daughters. My father is the third son they had. My father married my mother and had 2 sons and a daughter. I was the youngest in my family. All 3 of us got married and had children. My siblings and the in-laws had a son and daughter each. Only one of my aunts got married and had 2 children, a boy and a girl. Our cousin sister and brother got married too, but only our cousin sister had 2 children. My son and daughter-in-law had a boy and a girl, so you can see that. Okay, there you go. Right, okay. So with that, we move on into the next question. Meet my family. Mage pawula aywa hamba wenna. Draw and explain your family. Think oyage family eka oya explain karanna one, right? So this is myself. I can't draw well, so this is myself. And then I got married to my husband. So this is my husband. So I have a sister. Okay. And then she got married. So that is my brother-in-law. And they had 2 kids. So I have a nephew and a niece. Right, so here we've got our parents. Right. So here we have my mother and my father. Right, so that's basically my family and myself. I have 3 children, son, and a daughter. Okay, so this is my family tree. Okay. So my mother, my father, my sister, brother-in-law, nephew, niece, son, daughter. So I do have cousins, right? So if you want to talk about my brother, my father, so this is my grandfather. And then this is my grandmother. My father has 7 siblings, okay? So he's like the third actually, okay? So it's quite a long tree. So I've got uncle, aunt, and then I have another aunt. Okay, and then I have another uncle. And yeah, I think that's it. One is no more. So I have aunt, uncle, and my father. So 6 of them are there now, right? So this uncle had 3 kids. This aunt had 3 kids. This aunt had 2 kids. This aunt had 1 kid. And this uncle had 2 kids. So I have a lot of cousins. Okay. දැන් මේක තමයි මගේ family tree එක. ඕගොල්ලෝගේ family tree එක අඳින්න ඕනේ. So my mother also has her own sisters and brothers, right? So it's quite a big family, right? Okay, so with that, I move on into the next question. Talk about the following. So, who is the oldest person in your family? Actually, the oldest person in my family at the moment, I mean, my close family members, would be my father, right? The youngest person in my family is my daughter at the moment. Which is better, having many children or only one? Oh, good question. I prefer to have one because it's less hectic, but actually having more children is much fun, right? And it's better because they learn to share, they learn to care, and actually after they sleep, I have such a busy day, and I know I only have 3. Out there, I know so many mums who have 5 kids, 7 kids, right? But 3 is a handful for me. So this is just my experience. And I mean, when they go to sleep, you feel so lonely, right? And I sit down and I look at them and think, oh, wow, So I think it's much better to have more children because they keep on running around. I know it's quite hectic, but at the end of the day, I think it's quite fun. Who do you look like in your family? Why do you think so? So I look quite like my dad. I resemble my dad so much. And I think years ago, my dad and I actually won the most alike looking father and daughter. So at a competition, right? So we look quite alike. Why do I say so? Because a lot of people say so. And when we stand next to each other, a lot of people say, "Ane tata bhagi." So that's why. The most favorite person in your family or your family tree or the person. So actually, it's my father. I'm very close to him, and if there's anything, I always talk to him, and he's the first person I turn to. What sort of things do you like to do together? Well, my dad and I mean, he's quite old now, so we don't really do a lot of things, but I go obviously visit him every day and I sit down and talk to him. I think sitting down and talking to him is like the most best activity that I actually like doing with him, or that's like my favorite activity. How much time do you manage to spend with the members of your family? Quite good question at the moment. I'm a bit tight with time, but I make it a fact to go and visit my parents at least once a day. They live quite close by. And I try my level best to make time and spend time with my kids and my husband. But definitely we take some time off at least once a week, sit down and talk to each other and spend some time together outside and, do some fun activities. So I would say probably it's about 3 hours per day at least. Do you get well with do you get on? I would say it should be, do you get on well with your family? I do get on well with my family, like my husband, my kids, yes, and my mom and dad, definitely yes. So I do get along well with them. Why? Because we're family. So it says blood is always thicker than anything else. So I'm close to my mom and dad and my husband. So I always make sure that family is together. Right. Practice question 3, my neighbors. Talk about the members of your neighbors. Describe their looks, personality, what do you like about them. ඉතින් ඕගොල්ලොන්ගේ අසල්වැසියෝ ගැන කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. කැමති දේවල්, අකමැති දේවල්, ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ description එකක්. Here are some words you could use. Young, middle-aged, old, slim. මේවා අපි කරලා තියෙනවා beginner level එකේ, right? Blonde, dark, fair, long, short, shoulder length, curly, wavy, straight, tied up in a bun, a moustache, a beard, right? So I think Javier has dark, straight hair and fair skin. He has a broad forehead and a smiley face. He's clean shaven. He's unfriendly, okay? So you could talk about how you like and dislike them. I have my neighbor next door and she's nice, okay? So we get along really well. I call her Aki and we get along really well because she's elder to me. And she has 2 kids. She has a son and a daughter, and her husband is also there, right? So I call him Aya, and I think we get along really well. I do like her because even though we're neighbors, like we don't really poke into other people's businesses. We mind our own business, but we get along well. We share food and we're there for each other in need. Like, you know, if I'm sick, she's always around. If she needs me, I'm always around. And we maintain a healthy relationship. So I love my neighbors. Practice question 4, getting along with people. Talk about 2 families you see in the pictures. What do you see? What is happening? What do they feel? What did you feel? So when I look at these 2 pictures, this seems like a really happy family and this seems like a really unhappy family. Kids seem happy, relaxed. Kids seem stressed. I feel as parents, I mean, we all have our differences, right? But shouting and screaming in front of your kids would not be the best way to solve problems, right? So even if we are angry, for example, myself and my husband, we always make it a fact not to show that indifference in front of our kids. And if you want to sort something, we'll always, not fight and shout, but we sit down and discuss about it at night when the kids are at bed, right? So definitely I feel that this is a happy family. They feel happy and, they're enjoying, they look relaxed and they're preparing, I think, dinner or a dish. But here they're arguing and the child is unhappy. So when I look at it, I feel really happy about this family and I feel really sad about this family. That's what I feel, okay? Talk about the 2 pictures you see. Okay, so it seems like this one, we know this word, right? So you're kind of peeping through and trying to see what's happening, okay? Whereas here she's trying to sleep and then someone is watching the TV really loudly, okay? So this, I feel, okay, most people do this. This is really annoying, so is this, okay? Because I don't like people eavesdropping or looking at what's happening next door, wherever, because it's really bad. හරි ඒ හින්දා මං හිතන්නේ අනුන්ගිකක් බලන්න නැතුව තමන්ගේ පාඩුවේ ඉන්නව නම් හොඳයි and then disturbing සද්දට දේවල් දාන එකත් එච්චර හොඳ දෙයක් නෙවෙයි මොකද ඒක හරිම annoying feeling එකක් හින්දා. And the next one, talk about the following. What is the secret to a happy family? හොඳ පවුලක් සතුටින් ඉන්න පවුලකට තියෙන රහස් මොනවද? කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ පවුලක් තියාගන්න මොනවද අපිට ඕන දේවල්, right? Well, I think the secret to a happy family is love, trust and understanding. Right? සතුටින් ඉන්න පවුලකට අපි තියෙන්න ඕනේ ආදරය තියෙන්න ඕනේ තේරුම් ගැනීම තියෙන්න ඕනේ සහ එකිනෙකාව හොඳට විශ්වාස කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ ටික තියෙනවා මම හිතනවා අනිත් දේවල් ටික ඉස්සරහට ඇදගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. When you are angry at someone you know, what should you do? That's a good question. So when I'm really angry at someone I know, I tend not to speak because you can't really take back your words. So I would really sit down and think through it before I react towards it. How can you turn an unhappy neighbor into a happy neighbor? You could invite your neighbor to your place, okay? You could invite your neighbor for dinner. You could invite your neighbor for a cup of coffee or maybe for a tea. You could try and talk to your neighbor time to time. Maybe you could try and get close to your neighbor and see why your neighbor is unhappy. Okay. And our last question. Do you have what it takes to be my person? Okay. What is your ideal kind of friend? හිතේම ඉන්න යාළුවා කොයි වගේද? ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම යාළුවෙක් හිටියනම් මට හොඳයි කියලා හිතෙන්නේ මොනවද යාළුවට තිබිය යුතු ගුණාංග? What is your ideal kind of partner? තමන්ගේ සහකාරය අපි කියන්නේ පොඩි කාලේ අනේ මට නම් බඳින්න ඕනේ මේවා තියෙන කෙනෙක්. So what kind of qualities should that person have? What is your ideal kind of neighbor? තමන්ගේ හිතේ තියෙන අසල්වැසියට මොන වගේ දේවල්ද තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? So you could talk about these questions using words and phrases to describe their characteristics and personality. Okay? Right. So with that, I think we've come to the end of this lesson, which was all about community.